How's it going, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a brand new Pokemon Sword and Shield DLC related rumor, as well as just a Pokemon rumor in general that we're going to take a look at. So first things first, we're going to look through and actually read the rumor. It is posted on 4chan, and then after we read through the rumor, we're going to jump straight into discussing all of it one by one. So let's start reading it. This was posted on 4chan by Anonymous on the 7th of April, which was basically yesterday, saying Pokemon Press Conference 2020, plan for May 26th. So this also says here, plans can change due to the virus, which is true. Keep that in mind. Due to the whole thing happening in the world right now, there's a high possibility this could be cancelled due to everything happening, which is something to be kept in mind if it is something that is going to be happening anyways, So either way, let's get into it. So Pokemon Sleep update, new app where you play with Pokemon and catch in your dreams connectively with home. So we've already heard about Pokemon Sleep before. It was announced on the last press conference from Pokemon Press Conference 2019, I'm pretty sure. That's when they announced it, and that one just basically went through like nothing about this, new app. It just said Pokemon Sleep and that's it, right? Really strange kind of thing, but hey, it was announced. So it says it's going to have connectivity with Home, which makes sense. Home recently came out, so it does seem logical. Next up, DLC 1, release date June 26th. Now, DLC 1 is the Isle of Armor, and it's for Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. Now, as for the date, June 26th, that makes sense. They did say sometime late June was the date they gave us, or like the timing they gave us, rather, was late June, and the 26th makes sense. Specifically, the 26th, if I look at specifically June, the 26th is a Friday, which fits well with Nintendo's and Game Freak's kind of release schedule for Pokemon type content and games and stuff like that. Next up, plans for the 25th anniversary, which is I think next year, right? Is the first thing, Detective Pikachu 2 game. Now we already have information about this. What do you know? I mean, we don't know how it looks like, but we already know that Detective Pikachu 2 is in the making. They announced this last time on the last press conference, I'm pretty sure. They announced specifically that they're working on the next Detective Pikachu game. So we know for a fact that will be coming and that will be happening. Question is, will we see it now announced, during this press conference? That may still happen. Well, we'll have to wait and see. So yeah, Detective Pikachu 2 game. Next up, new live action Pokemon movie series. Should be DP2, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he means by DP2. I'm trying to think here. Diamond Pearl 2? Is that what you're trying to say? Or something else? Like maybe it's something else. I really can't tell what he's trying to get across there, but he says DP2, so I don't know. Either way, but he's trying to say here that we're gonna have a new live action movie series. That to me sounds actually pretty awesome. And this is again coming from someone who, actually did enjoy Detective Pikachu, but is a little afraid that if they start making Pokemon movies based on the video games, it's gonna kind of dilute the history of the games themselves, which is something I've wanted them to avoid. But if they go down a path of making something interesting that isn't a Detective Pikachu movie, a continuation of that, I am happy not having to go down that path. So yeah, I'm excited to see what they have for a movie. Hopefully they do it well. By the way, next up, new Pokemon title announcement for 2021. Generic announcement. So, interesting thing here, right? We know for a fact that they're definitely working on a game right now. Of course, that could be delayed due to the whole thing happening in the world. They could still end up delaying this, but there is apparently a title, according to this guy, that's going to be announced. New Pokemon title announcement for 2021, generic announcement, so no actual info, but there is a lot of speculation as to what this could be, and I will talk about that a bit further in. Either way, next up, info. The 2021 Pokemon title is internally called Pokemon 1, soft reboot of the series starting with Kanto and Johto full 3D. Same story with influence of Sinnoh in Johto. Change in battle system like Pokemon Masters can now just use 3 items in battle. Okay, wow, that was interesting. So, next thing we're going to talk about, we just looked at this rumor, let's talk about the next thing. So, there has been a lot of talks, there's been a bunch of websites like Nintendo Soup, I think, posted about this, that there is a potential delay coming for the future DLC, which is Crown Tundra. There is a potentially delay coming there, but then again, I don't really know. So keep that in mind. Due to the whole thing happening in the world, a lot of things could end up getting delayed. For example, if there is a game being made for next year, right, a Diamond and Pearl remake, there is a slim chance that could actually also be affected, though I would actually assume that for the most part, the base game is most likely done already, as Game Freak tends to do that, and especially now that they've got a DLC coming out this year, they had way more time to work with in terms of like, working on whatever the next game project is, whether that be, the next remakes, the next Let's Go game, something brand new, like what the rumor says, whatever it may be, they are simply working on it. But either way, let's now talk about the actual rumor, right? Like, let's break it down one by one and give my opinions on everything and talk about everything in depth. So we're going to start with that right now. So Pokemon Press Conference 2020 planned for May 26th. Plans can change due to the whole thing happening in the world. So this is really strange. Now, why would he know about a press conference that's being planned in general? I remember last time we had this in 2019, I remember when that happened, it was a really strange timing because whenever it came and that, like, it was just announced and then we didn't know anything about, you know, like, I think it was like the day after that we had the Pokemon Direct or something. And I remember it was like such a weird timing of everything and like that. But that was early on in the year. They did that early on in the year. This is though planned for the 26th of May. Now, I don't know, but that seems like really strange with timing. Now, the 26th of May is next month, of course. It's literally on a Tuesday. And since it's meant to be a press conference, you would assume that the press would be there. But as you may notice, the press really shouldn't be going anywhere right now. Everybody's trying to stay inside because of the whole thing happening. So this doesn't really make much sense. And like he says, though, this could change. So was this planned ahead by like half a year ago? Or is this something that recently came to fruition as an ID, and will they cancel it or will they just do an online, you know, type of thing instead? Will they just like show it off on the internet, kind of like how they did with the Nintendo Direct? Instead of holding like a little stream and stuff, they just published a video. Will they do the same thing for this? Will they just publish a press conference and stuff like that? Will that be how they do it? I don't know, but it really would be interesting to see how they pull this off, whatever way they go down. So next thing, Pokemon Sleep update, new app where you can play Pokemon and catch in your dreams, connectivity with home. So again, I'm not a big fan of this. I don't really care for Pokemon Sleep. I feel like it's a waste of their like time. Sure, some of you might be like, oh, I think it's cool, I like it, whatever. Personally, again, my own opinion, I just don't see any value in it. I would rather them spend their time making the next Pokemon game or putting more effort into it. You know what I mean? Like, just basically spending more time improving the next project they're working on. And that's what I would probably say, or investing that money into the bigger projects. So yeah, that's just what I feel about that. Next up, DLC 1 release date, June 26th. I already talked about this earlier, but the 26th makes sense. It's a Friday, and we know it's going to come in late June. We already know that. They announced that, so this makes sense as a date. Next, plans for 25th anniversary, which if you don't know, next year is the 25th anniversary of all of Pokemon, but also it is as well the 15th anniversary of Diamond and Pearl. So it is the perfect year, literally the perfect year to release the Diamond and Pearl remakes. So that's what why I personally still feel there's going to be Diamond and Pearl remakes next year, even though this is trying to say otherwise. By the way, he does say here though, Detective Pikachu 2 game. We know this is happening, by the way. We know they're making it. They already announced this, like, I think in that press conference last year, they announced Detective Pikachu 2. So we know that's happening. But my question is, I guess, you know, when is it coming? According to this guy, that'll be next year. Next thing, new live-action Pokemon movie/series should be a DP2, but I'm not sure. So here's something interesting, right? Like, I know this is most likely happening because we saw the success of Detective Pikachu. Sure, it was actually outpaced by the Sonic movie, but besides that point, it did succeed really well. People did like it, enjoyed it. It did well on the box office. It made money, which at the end of the day, that's all these companies care about. As long as it makes money, they'll make more of it. So that seems to me likely. As for it being a new series and not following the Detective Pikachu movie and continuing that, I actually think that's more interesting, honestly. Though I'm worried that if they try to remake kind of the games into a movie, I wouldn't like that. I want it to be kind of its own unique story, but with influences from the games. So instead of, like, you know, like taking like a Trainer Red and making him to a character in this movie, instead make up a whole new character, but have influences, have references, like, oh, there was this trainer in this faraway region. I think his name was Red, and I remember he did some, you know, crazy stuff. He won the championship, whatever. Like, just make references and stuff, but don't like have to use the games as a crutch, or don't like sully the name of the games is what I'm trying to say. Like, leave the games be, let them be their own encapsulated little beautiful thing, and instead just like, I don't know, just make a unique, new, cool story for us to check out. Because imagine if they did, like, we saw what they did with the 3D like Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back movie, and how it looked weird having Ash in 3D and Brock and Misty. It just looked off, and that's the same thing I would feel about if they actually try to find a person to fit the role of Ash or the role of Red. It just wouldn't work for me personally, but then again, that's just what I feel. Next up, they point out a new new Pokemon title announcement for 2021 generic announcement. So they've done this before. They've announced like new titles and never really given us exact details. I remember whenever, like, we had Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee, that was announced in a really weird manner, and that was already given to us like they already told us in like 2017 or something. They told us, oh, we're working on a Switch title for Pokemon, and we didn't know anything else than that. Next up, info. The 2021 Pokemon title is internally called Pokemon 1. This sounds weird, okay? Soft reboot of the series starting with Kanto and I guess he's trying to say Johto full 3D. So this to me sounds worrying. We just had a Kanto game like what? A year ago, basically a year ago in 2018, we had a literally Let's Go Pikachu, Let's Go Eevee. I mean, it says it though, same story with influence of Sinnoh and Johto. Again, not sure what that means. If he's trying to say the whole Ruins of Alph, Sinjo Ruins thing, maybe that's what he's talking about. Don't really know. He says changed in battle system like Pokemon Masters. This is the interesting part, right? He says you can now use just 3 items in battle. This is the part that really gets me confused. And the reason I say that is because why would they change the system unless they're trying to make the similar thing they did with Let's Go? Because the only reason Let's Go existed, by the way, for those who do not know, the only reason they even existed was just as a way for them to get the Pokemon Go fans to start playing the mainline Pokemon games and buying a Switch. That was the only reason for Let's Go's existence. And this could be a similar case here, where they're trying to get people into Pokemon Masters by having a similar system implemented into mainline games. So this actually seems reasonable. Not reasonable in a good way, but rather it seems likely is the word I'm looking for. It seems actually possible. So yeah, that is basically it for this video, guys. We've gone through everything. What are your thoughts? What are your opinions? What do you guys think about this rumor? What do you think about a press conference happening at this current time in the world? What are your thoughts? Let me know. Thank you so much for watching. Have yourselves a great day. Make sure to subscribe, leave a like, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye bye.